Hi, and welcome to We the Kids. Please join us in prayer. Dear God, thank you for letting us be able to meet here and have the freedom to talk with Dr. Marty about his experience and for him to be able to answer some questions for us today. In your name, amen. And now Wyatt will do the Pledge of Allegiance for us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today's guest is Dr. Marty Langhofer, a sponsor of the 4-H Veterinarian Science. If you're in need of a veterinarian, please visit his office at Western Veterinarian Clinic on State Road 2 in South Bend. Our sponsors today are Chick-fil-A in Mishawaka, Hacienda in Erskine Village in South Bend, and David Bowman, author of What Would the Founding Fathers Think? Please welcome Dr. Marty.
Thank you for having me.
What was your most memorable surgery when you were in another country?
When I was in another country, I'm going to have to think about that. We've done quite a bit of horse work in other countries. Mostly I lecture and I teach about horse dentistry and small animal surgeries. And most of the time I don't do surgeries unless I'm in the Middle East. And when I was in the Middle East, I worked on camels, and I worked on wild donkeys, and I worked on horses and birds and dogs and whatever they wanted to bring into me. So it was really a delightful privilege to actually work at a humane society in Oman, Jordan.
Thank you. Do you have any safety tips for our animals when they're traveling?
Yes, one thing is do not leave them in a hot car. And they now actually have safety seats for dogs too that you can put them in. And sometimes when the dogs are actually in the car, they get car sick like we do. And so you can go to your veterinarian and you can ask him to get some medicine so they don't, kind of upchuck on your floor.
Thank you.
What is the best way to protect our pets from illness?
To go to your veterinarian and get annual exams and make sure that you keep up on your vaccinations.
Thank you. Does the Zika virus affect animals?
Not that we know of, dear.
Okay. Does every dog breed need their teeth brushed?
Like people, we all need to have good dental hygiene. If you don't, you get a mucky mouth. And mucky mouths, they don't smell very good. So to keep your pet happy and keep you happy, take your pet into the veterinarian and make sure that his teeth are properly cleaned. And then you'll have to do some things at home too.
Is it okay to use my laser for my dog to chase, or will it make him aggressive since he'll never actually catch it?
Well, you have to slow down if you want him to catch it. But lasers, if you hit them in the eyes, it can cause some damage, so you got to be really, really careful. But dogs and cats, they kind of go wild when you use that laser, don't they? Mm-hmm. So you got to be really careful when you're doing that, and don't point it in their eyes, or don't point it in your eyes, or shoot it across the room and hit somebody else in the eye too. It can damage their eyes.
Thank you. Also, my sister has a barn cat. She thinks the cat will get discouraged from chasing the mice if she never catches the laser.
Never catches. Well, they have an instinct to go after anything that's running anyway. And I'm sure there's going to be a decrease in the mouse and the rat population in the barn if your cat's out there.
Thank you.
How much playtime does my dog need in order to be healthy?
Oh, Joanna, you cannot give him enough time. It's like, you really want to be with your dad sometime. We're really, really busy. But you cannot give too much time for your dog. Give as much as you can. Hugs and loves and walks, and cats love it too. So, hey, as much as you can give them, give it to them.
Thank you. Do cats see in color?
That is a real good question. We think the cat is kind of like the dog. They're kind of blind to green and to reds So they probably would look at your neckerchief and they go, huh, that's a little different for me. But they don't see exactly like we do, but they can see very well.
Thank you.
Is it bad for my indoor dog to chew on my horse's hoof trimmings, or should I dispose of them?
Well, you can always throw them away, but I've never seen a barn dog that didn't eat horse hooves. They kind of like them. They chew them up, and they're kind of yummy for them, you know. But most of the time, because they're a gelatinous type of thing, they don't cause too many troubles. I've never had to do surgery on a dog that ate horse hooves. But you got to be careful because they can over-impact themselves, just like eating bones, and there's certain bones that can cause problems too. So I don't think I'd worry too much, particularly if he's out there when you're trimming your horse's feed.
Thank you, Dr. Marty.
Say, Wyatt, I see you got that cool 4-H club shirt on. Did you got some animals at home?
Yeah.
Well, what kind of animals did you show at the 4-H fair?
I have a rabbit and I have a dog.
A rabbit and a dog. You have to take care of the rabbit quite a bit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you feed your dog?
Hopefully.
Did you get to show him there too?
Yeah.
Did you do well with him?
Mm-hmm.
Great. What's the biggest problem you've had with your dog?
Well, I don't know. Probably he doesn't want to stay when I tell him to like sit or lay down. He likes to get up fast.
Yeah, sometimes that can be a problem, you know, when we say sit. You're just going to have to keep practicing and practicing, you know. What about Joanna?
Well, I have a dog. She's a rat terrier mix, and she is probably the most playful thing ever. She comes to like rub up against your leg, but I love it when I'm doing school and all of a sudden I'll feel something against my feet and I'll just be like, what is that? And she'll just like be looking up at me, waggling her tail.
They're really, really active, aren't they? Rat terriers. They're kind of fun, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do they play with toys?
She doesn't really
doesn't play with
toys. No.
Did she play with your cowboy hat?
Nope.
Good. What about you, Lene?
I have 2 dogs and 5 rabbits.
And 5 rabbits? Oh my, what's the biggest problem you have with your rabbits?
I've got one that likes to bite a lot.
Oh yeah, sometimes you get a biter, don't you? Yeah, I've seen those too. Yeah. Do they scratch you too?
Occasionally.
And they live in the house with you?
No, they're out in my
out
garage.
A garage rabbit, yeah. Some people live actually in the house, and they bring litter in, kitty litter, and they use that for their bathroom and everything. They jump around and hop around the house, and some households get really good with them. What about you, Erica?
I have a dog and a horse, and I also have show rabbits and chickens and ducks.
And ducks and chickens.
And other things.
What's other things?
I get swine and other poultry.
Really? Which one do you like the best?
The horses.
You are really busy in 4-H, aren't
Yes.
you? Yeah, you sure are. So what do you like about your horse? He's really huggy, isn't he?
She is very.
Oh, man, they are, yeah. Yeah, and if you're bad to them, they'll remember that too, you know that?
Yes, she was a rescue, and so it took a lot of work to get her to where she was like calm enough to be able to do some things with her. But she's really great now.
That says a lot about you and how patient you are, because horses, they like to be loved, and you have to really talk with them a long time. And I've worked on wild Mustangs too, and if you really want them to be your friend, you just have to be patient with them. They have to trust you,
Yes.
kind of like us, because you know not all the kids can have trust in life. And the reason why is because I've traveled throughout all the world. How'd you like to go on a vacation and not know if the room you're staying isn't bugged by the secret police? Or how would you like to try to go to church and they just arrest your mom and dad and take them away? Or how would you like to get up in the morning at 4 o'clock in the morning and stand in a line for 8 hours to get 1 bottle of milk or 1 loaf of bread? So if you have to leave and go see somebody or do something, then you just lose your space and then you lose your milk that week. We have more freedoms in this country than any country I've seen. That's why it's really important that we need to know what our rights and our liberty are. You know, a lot of times there's other countries you can't get together like this and just talk. Everything is absolutely controlled. And you never know when somebody's going to knock on your door and take your dad away, bring him back later on for interrogation. Why? Well, maybe he went to church. The freedoms we have here are a great freedom that we have to protect. We have to know what they are. That's why it's really important that we need to know about our Constitution and what it says. And also, we have to know what rules are. Because you see, our country, actually, if you look at it, most of our fields are made in squares. Did you know that? And rectangles. And it gives us some continuity in what we need to do and what we need to think. A lot of countries, their roads go round and around. And everything goes to the middle of the city like in a spoke. So everything goes to one place. Where in the United States, we have a lot of freedom. We got a lot of places we can go. And a lot of ways to get there. In a lot of countries, you have to take a bus or you have to take a train. And all those things are highly controlled. And so the freedoms we have here should never be taken for granted. Even the food you eat. I know that even in some places, I have friends that even if they go out and they plow their fields and they want to go out and harvest them, there's people that will steal their food. And they say, well, you know, you work the field and you're just rich, so I have the right to steal your food. And so when they go to the police and they turn them in, they said, why are you complaining? You need to give your food away anyway. So we have a lot of freedoms here. And it's important as young people that you know what those freedoms are.
So you've discussed about being in other countries, and what got you invited to speak in those other countries?
Well, I'm not sure exactly why I got invited, but I had a friend one day that I had called down in Georgia because I had a veterinarian that wanted to go to work for me, and he wanted to take an externship. In other words, kind of practice for a few months, you know, before you get your license. And so I called him and I said, hey, Scott, I want you to take this doctor down, and I want you to take an externship. He said, yeah, that's right, and I want you to go to Romania. I said, what? You want me to go to Romania? How soon are you going to leave? In 48 hours? 48 hours? What are we going to do? We're going to show them how to do surgery on horses and not kill them. And so I went, and so, oh my goodness, I've been in Kazakhstan, I've been in Romania, I've been in Moldova, I've been in the Ukraine, I've been in the Middle East, I've been in Pingtung University in Taiwan, I've been in Mexico, I have been in Guatemala, I've been in Canada, I've been in a lot of countries, but I've learned a lot about people and their animals. It's a cool profession.
What made you decide to be a veterinarian?
Oh, Lene, my grandfather, he was a rancher, and he had many, many acres of land, and he had cows. And I would go out there, and he would sit, and he would just sit there and his cows, and I was probably about your age, and you know what he'd say to me? He would say this to me: the greatest power in the world is learning to love people, even when they're unlovely. That's what he'd tell me. So we'd go to the auction barns, and they go, better now, tell you where to now, here's a little bit of $4 bill now, $5. And he'd say, yep, buy that hog, push them on out. Well, I kind of like that stuff. And so I'd go out there in the ranch and see my grandfather, and I liked going to the sale barn, and I said, I want to do this. So then I started working in the camp for ghetto children, and I had 28 head of horses that I was a dude wrangler for. And I taught children not to be afraid of horses. It was the coolest thing, and that's why I decided, well, I'm going to be a veterinarian. So that's what I am.
Thank you.
Do you have any pets at your house?
Oh my goodness. When we had our kids at home, we had 5 horses, we had 50 rabbits, we had like 20 chickens and 12 turkeys, and we had 3 boa constrictors, a gerbil, about 3 cats, and about 4 dogs. I mean, we had the whole zoo there.
So I am planning on being a veterinarian as well, and I love hunting because the Second Amendment gives us the freedom to do so. So some people view this as contradictory. However, what are your thoughts on this, and do you hunt?
Oh, that is a cool question. Did you know that our government, through the Extension Service, has 4-H? And in 4-H, one of the projects is actually shooting sports. And through the shooting sports, they also work with our natural resources here in the United States. Because you see, we have a lot of wild animals, and they have to be able to actually control the amount of animals that are there, because they have wrecks and people can be killed and it tears their cars up and things like that. But did you also know that veterinarians are kind of watch over the safety of animals, and they watch over health? And so when you say about shooting, did you know that every beef steak you eat, it was a cow, and bacon was a pig, and chicken was a chicken that walked around? And it died that we might live. And so some of these things are really controversial, Erica, but I know that for my own self as a veterinarian, I have people that bring their dogs in that go hunting. And they need veterinarians that understand that. Maybe in the big cities they don't understand what it is to live in the country, where your father takes you out and he teaches you about being a man, and he teaches you responsibility, what it means to take a gun out, what it means to take a life when it comes to an animal that you might eat. And so all of these things you probably are going to have to come up and decide for yourself as young people, because there's a lot of different thoughts about shooting and what it means. But yes, I do hunt, and I do take my boys out, I do take my grandsons out, and I shoot with my granddaughters too, that they might understand responsibility. And it is a big responsibility for all of us. There's a lady whose name is Temple Grandin. Temple Grandin is autistic, and she was teased a lot when she was young. She has a PhD at Colorado State, and she now designs all or many of the livestock plants where they actually slaughter animals that we might eat. And she said this: if we are going to eat them, then we must respect them, and we must make their life comfortable until we take it that we might eat. But thank you for that question, Erica.
Thank you.
And Lene, you have a question for me?
Yes. What message would you like to give to encourage more youth to do 4-H?
4-H is a phenomenal project. It teaches so much about life. It teaches you how to do things. It teaches you how to cook, how to make dresses, how to show horses and dogs and cats and lizards and snakes and whatever you want. Because you see, our lives are actually wrapped up in relationships by what we do and by our self-worth. It's learning how to lose gracefully, but it's learning how to win tough. And life is tough. And so if you never give up in what you want, it has great opportunities. It can open up the future for you. You can get scholarships in 4-H. Did you know that? So it's a good program. Everybody that can get in 4-H should be in 4-H. But that's a great question. Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
What about you, Joanna?
Why do you think American history is important to learn?
Because if you don't know where you came from, how will you know where you need to be? Most people that came to the United States, they came because they were beaten and they were tortured, and they were said they couldn't have the freedom that they wanted to. And we got on ships and we came to this country. And our forefathers that came, and they looked at this Constitution. Did you know they argued about it? Oh, they downright got mad at each other. They'd storm out of meetings. Can you believe that? And then they had to come together and say, some way we have to come up with a way to live that gives everybody the freedom of expression, of religion, of what they want to say, without tearing everybody else's fences down, or without being afraid that I'm going to jail, or I'm going to be shot, or I'm going to be taken advantage of. This is what our American democracy stands for. Is it perfect? No, because we have imperfect people. But we must strive to continue doing the right thing, to make our country and our Constitution strong? Thanks for asking that question. Good question.
Thank you.
We the kids would now like to present Dr. Marty with a thank you gift.
Why, thank you so much. Look at this. It says Certificate of Appreciation from We the Kids. That's
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you very much, young people. I appreciate this.
Which 4-H group do you belong to?
Oakland County 4-H Fair.
What do you like most about it?
Learning how to take care of that specific animal you have chosen to take care for the fair and then showing it.
Thank you. Okay. Which 4-H group do you belong to?
Warren Township.
What do you like most about it?
Just like the fun of it and riding your horses and having the fun.
Thank you. Which 4-H group do you belong to?
Penn Harris Township.
What do you like most about it?
I like the dedication of all of our leaders and the fact that we are learning about all of our animals in the projects we've chosen to enter.
Thank you.
Bye.